All right, so welcome to a weekend morning video. Moving on to a new topic today. So I will share my screen and take a look at what this topic is. It is Netcomp. So Netcomp is one of the things I think I have the most amount of recent experience in. So this won't have to be a super long video because I feel pretty confident in it. In the other videos, I already demoed some things, so I'm going to start off the video by just showing two really important things you need to know when working with Netcomp on Junipers. The first thing you need to know is what a command looks like when it comes back from Netcomp. So to do that, you can do show configurate or show configuration interfaces. And let's just look at loopback 0. And then you can do a pipe display. And then this is Netconf, so it's going to return it in XML. So this is what you're going to get when it comes back from Netconf. You're going to get XML, and it will look like this. So being able to do that is really important. The other thing that's really important to know when working with Netconf is what commands you need to send in order to configure something with Netconf. So let's figure that out. We're going to go into configure private. Then we're going to go edit interfaces LO0, show pipe display. So now okay, so we do need to make some sort of change, I think. So if I do set description test dash netconf, okay, so this is good for me to brush up on because you can see I'm making a change here. I'm adding a description. So I'm looking for a particular command here. Let's do a commit of that change. And let's go out of config mode and do show interfaces, or show configuration interfaces, type display. Okay. So this doesn't have anything to do with configuration. This is tied specifically to show commands, and it's only about show commands. So I can do show interfaces terse, pipe display XML. And now if I send a show command to the device through Netconf, and the XML is so that I am pulling back the information from show interfaces terse, this is the information I'm going to get back. But how do I know which XML command to send to get that information? This is where you can say display XML RPC, show corresponding XML RPC, extensible markup language remote procedure call. So if I want to get that output back here, this is the XML I would need to send from the device where I am reaching out to R1. Wish I could get like the perfect camera angle. There we go, that's good. Oh, it's a little bit too far. That's good enough. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're looking at this anyway, so you can't really get that much better. Let's do a so let's move on. So we figured out that it only applies to show commands. So and it doesn't apply to show configuration commands. So I can do show class of service, pipe display, oops, and then I've got to do policy map, pipe display, XML, oops, XML, RPC. So any show command from the device, I have this extra RPC at the end, and I can see what I need to send with Netconf. It's not possible for you to send a command to look at the just the configuration. Within Netconf, you have to send commands that pull that back to specific information. I'm sure there is a way, but you won't be able to use the pipe display XML RPC to find out the way. You have to know the way yourself. So let's create the notes. So I'm just moving it over because it's going to be for the most part similar from there, but it's going to be device infrastructure, automation scripts, and then this is going to be Netcomp, first video. So this I'm definitely going to include as a tag because I think a lot of people are interested in learning Netcomp. Syslog's no longer going to be on here, but yep, device infrastructure, Linux, all the good stuff is still there. System features, this is no longer about that. Let's add a tag for network automation because Netconf is definitely a big part of that. And is Netconf in all caps here? It is, okay. Yeah, it's traditionally in all caps, I think. I don't even know what it stands for, but hopefully we'll find out in the process of studying. So yeah, I think this is all I need. We're learning about Juniper for a test, which is network engineering. We're using Junos 3 on a Dell PowerEdge R610. So we're going to be using Linux Ubuntu servers. We're going to be learning about device infrastructures, the particular part of this exam. And we're going to be using Netconf, so this is automation scripts, so definitely ties into network automation quite a bit. So let's move on and use the strategy that I intend to use from now on. I wonder if this camera is like falling down, because it seems like the shot is like changing a lot. All right, so there we go. Perfect. So we're going to open both of these, and I noticed that my CLI was functional, so hopefully that's the case on router 2. Oh, and it appears not to be. So yeah, I left it open overnight. It looks like my cron job did not happen because otherwise it would have been at the login prompt. So I'd like to figure out how to get that cron job to work. It was working before, which is why I wasn't having this issue as often. So I'll do the reboot and then I'll take a look into the cron job and maybe try to see why it's not working. And then if anyone knows, let me know in the comments below a good guide or some good link to learn about cron jobs and preferably not sexy MILFs. Those kind of comments I will be reporting. But if you have anything about sexy cron jobs in Linux, I would love to see those links. All right, so oops, before I do this, I'm just going to reboot it so it's ready to go. Oh, yeah, this really sucks, but having cron jobs has made it, let's see here, so cron job, yeah, has made it so that this doesn't happen very often. Yeah, here we go. So I figured it out last time. I kind of remember how it went. It was a bigger pain than I thought because, as is the case a lot of times, I find in Linux, you find a tutorial, it's like, oh, it's just cron tab-e. Okay, here's my cron job. Okay, we're good. But it's like, no, it's cron tab-e if you have your Linux machine set up in a certain way, and I don't. So it's editing the global configuration file for cron and making sure cron daemon is running a certain way. You know, all these painful steps. So that's kind of been my experience with Linux typically is just that it's often not seamless because I'm often not running the same distro as the tutorial is suggesting. And often the tutorials won't even tell you what distro they're expecting you to run. But it typically hasn't been impossible. And there are definitely a lot of really good advantages with using Linux, especially for business stuff, entertainment. Typically people think Windows is better than Linux because they're typically seeking entertainment from their computer instead of education or things like time management or academic studies. So Linux definitely has a really, really big following. A lot of people actually prefer it to Windows. But I think for the most part, those people have different goals in mind than just simply entertainment. All right, so let's do cron. Oh, and we got to be careful, of course, not to do the DNS3 restore because otherwise it'll move it to 2.2.9 DV, and I won't know how to downgrade it because it will fail to downgrade it. So let's do a cron tab -e. So there's my cron job, looks fine, but for some reason, because I did cron tab -e, it's not working. So let's learn more about the basics of cron. So comprehensive guide for beginners 2020. There are often ways to do things more efficiently. For example, handling repetitive tasks using an automated process is preferred by busy webmasters. If you use a Linux-like operating system, a cron job can save you time by performing tasks automatically. In this article, we will explain the basics of a cron job and how to use it for scheduling tasks. You can create and edit cron jobs using a few different methods. In this tutorial, we will show you how to do it using the Linux shell prompt. If you have a VPS at Hostinger, I do not have a VPS at Hostinger. You can find the login credentials in your, oh, so this is like, okay, so I think they're talking about, you know, as I mentioned, it can be dependent on the Linux distro. So they're expecting you to, this is hostinger.com. So it's a tutorial based on the VPNs they're selling you. So yeah, it might not work on mine because I'm using different software than they are using. And Linux comes in wide variety of any kind of flavor you can, but unfortunately because of that, it kind of varies from system to system sometimes. Here are some basic operations that cron jobs can perform. If you want to edit a cron tab file of a current user, type the following command in the terminal. So that is what I did. I edited the cron tab of the current user being, and I don't know. Oh, no, I do have the user up here, being GNS3. As it uses the vi editor, you can learn the basic vi commands to make sure you take the right action. If you want to edit another user's cron tab, you can type cron tab -u username -e. Keep in mind that you can only do this as a super user, meaning that you need to type sudo su before the command. I think this might have been the issue, is that I needed to have it for the root user and not the GNS3 user. I don't remember. If you want to remove the current cron tab file of the current user, type the following command. Cron tab -r. This is the same as -r, however, oh, well, what's the difference between, oh, okay, I skipped ahead. Oh, yeah, okay. If you want to display the contents of the contact file you are currently logged in, type the following command in the terminal. Another operation allows you to see if there are any cron tab files created. You can simply type cron tab -l. If you don't have any, you will see this result. So let's do that. Oh, you know what the problem might be? I might need, so this shutdown -r now might be failing because I don't have sufficient permissions to do that. Yeah, I think if I do a shutdown -r now, oh, no, it works right away. So yeah, I don't need a sudo. I thought the issue might have been I needed sudo shutdown, but that is not the case. So hopefully it does not boot it up to 2.2.9 DB. But let's continue on. If it does, then I will probably, I'll probably cry. I'll do that. There's no shame in crying for an adult man to cry. In addition, if you want to see the cron tab file lists of other users, you can type cron tab -u username -l as a super user. Apart from knowing the basic operations, it is important to learn basic syntax too. Basically, a cron tab file consists of two parts, the schedule timer and the command. So this is all very simple and exactly what I did, frustratingly so. So I think maybe the problem was that wherever cron tab is running, it needs the absolute path to shut down. That's another thing I think I had in my old cron job, is the absolute path. Let's see what this has to say about absolute or relative. No, it doesn't say anything about that. I mean, it might not use those terms, but I'm going to try that. Okay, we're still on 2.2.8, thankfully. So I'm going to try modifying that contab file. Well, before I do that, I'll go here and I'll do find-name shutdown. Oops, I'll do a sudo on that so I don't get all those permissions denied. Oops, and I did a Control W because that's a well-known Linux hotkey, but it is overridden by Chrome and it closes the tab. Okay, so I think I found it. It's going to be sbin shutdown. So I'll try that instead. So let me just take a note of what it's going to be. It's going to be .sbin shutdown. So I'll keep that in mind. Okay. So now I'm going to do contab-e. Okay, so let's see if that'll work. Give it a day. I'll come back to this tomorrow. And if everything looks as though cron tab has executed, then it'll be good. Otherwise, I might need to look into it some more. SBIN-SHUTDOWN. So ./SBIN. I can't really see that. Could say SHU. There we go. Yeah, oh, perfect. I can see it really well now. So save modified buffer. Yes. There we go. So hopefully this now works, and the only issue was that it did not have the relative path to shut down. It needed the full path, but I doubt that is the issue. I think it's more to do with the fact that GNS3 user is running it, and it's not set up in the global cron tab file. So, because if I do a find-name cron, oops, then I gotta do a sudo find-name, and then I'll do a regular. Oh, well, yeah, this will be fine. Yeah, I think it's got to go in this default cron here. So I can't see that because I'm on the big screen and it trails off to the side. But I can probably change my display settings and have that work better for me. I think I'm going to do that. But I can see it. It's just cat etc default cron. So this file has been deprecated. So we've also got sbin cat usr sbin cron. Oh, then that's a file. I think it's going to be fine. I won't be looking into it anymore. I think I'll be totally fine. So let's continue on with Netconf. So we already learned how to see what a device will return from a show command in Netconf, and then we learned what a device will, what you need to send to a device to get that output by using display XML Api. All right, so let's go back to that initial strategy of using help apropos. I'm going to need to pause the video for a minute and be back. All right, so it's time for more video. I'm back. Oh, yeah, I just needed some liquids. So let's continue on with the strategy that I intend to use. Oops, and so my server did not save its configuration. One thing I think I'm going to do is set up DHCP on R1 because it's really nice. But I'll need to set up radius because this isn't properly failing over for some reason. Oh, actually, it is properly failing over. So if I do SSH So I can get in. Oh, right, but it's not IP. So let's do history, grep, IF. Yep, and now, yep. Here we go. It's weird that it saves its history, but it doesn't save the packages. Oh, it's going to be route. There we go. Okay, so now you can see very clearly, hopefully, the reason I can't log in from here anymore when it doesn't have radius is because, let me do a show configuration, please. All right, so it's because I have, so set system authentication order radius, authentication order password. So password is a bit of a misnomer. It doesn't mean password. What it means is the authentication method for the user you are using. And I'm using this user, which has authentication method of a public key. So if I try to log in from myself here, router one does not have this public key, so it cannot log in. If I try to log in using the root password, so root clouds. Oh, do I not even have a? Surely I do. Oh, I guess I don't. Well, that explains it. Yeah, so you can see there's going to be a difference between router 1 and router 2. Yep, so router 1 has set system root authentication, encrypted password, or sorry, router 2 has that, but router 1 does not, which is really interesting to me because I thought you actually could not make a commit on the device unless you had that. So I don't know how this got around that rule because I thought that was a hard rule. Like I've encountered that many times. And it's been really annoying. So I don't. if there was a situation where I actually didn't have to encounter that, I kind of prefer that situation. Okay, so let's do. Okay, so let's do a. Let's put that on there so that it's easier when I lose radius connectivity, because then it'll fail over and I can use either the account I made, rem, or the account root. Oops, and it's not allowing me to continue. Oh, because I hit Alt, I bet. So, nope, it's not because I hit Alt. Oh, it is, okay. So that, yep, plain. Okay, so now it's going to be a lot easier to log in without radius connectivity. Yep, because I can just use the root account with a password and it will fail over to it and let me in nice and easy. It will, of course, timeout to radius first because that will be the first method it will try. But after that timeout has completed, it will use the password that I just set up and let me in nice and easy, as you can see. But of course, that delay is really annoying. This is kind of a pro tip for turning up a new device. You definitely don't want to have radius or tactics configured on a device you're turning up new, because it'll have that delay on there because it's not connected to it yet. You want to turn it up without radius, tactics, remote authentication, and you want to apply it later Otherwise, the tech will have to wait for that timeout every time. It'll just be a less smooth of a situation. Okay, so moving on. Now that we've got this a lot better, let's put radius on there just because I think it's good to continually get practice with the other topics. So yep, continually get practice with this, with user accounts, and then with ACLs. So, but I'm going to need to install free radius. Yeah, so apt get install free radius. Yep, we want to use that. This space got plenty because I added that another drive in there. That kind of reminds me though, I've been on the hunt for my blue external drive I used to have. So if I can find that again, I do have this black one. But this one I'd rather just keep as an external drive. But this is 1 full terabyte. Oh no, it's only 500. You know what? I wonder if that blue one, if that other one I put in there was from the blue one and I cracked it open already. That might just be missing the one from my old laptop, or I just threw it out or something. I don't know. But it's I just think it's really nice that I can just take any old drive and I can throw it in that server and get a lot of extra storage space, save myself like 80 bucks. Of course, it's a journey. It takes a lot of know-how, but the whole point of this channel is to get that know-how. So it's just a win-win situation. Which I'm a huge fan of. Win-win situations for me are really what I try to get. It's just I love it when everyone's happy and no one has to lose. All right, and let's get screen so we can keep using this here. Oh, we're going to need to, of course, edit those files though first in the radius. We got to create a user, and then we've got to allow router 1. And I wrote down the password that I'm using, so it's radius_password, because you need that in order to authenticate to the radius client to the radius server, and then to authenticate users, you need an individual user password that you set up in the users file. So let's do a find -name free radius. So now we can see all the places we've got radius. So let's go to lib, or sorry, let's go here. Okay, so now we've got all the configuration files. So the first one we're going to need to edit is clients.conf. And I'll practice what I preach and show good habits for editing Linux files. And that is backing them up first so that you can easily revert them. In this case, it's not a huge deal since I'm making really simple changes, but there are definitely cases where it is a big deal. Okay, so I made a typo or something. I'm not sure what happened there, but let's continue on. Okay, here we go. So client, and this is R1, and then IP We don't even have to call it R1. I think we can do 172.16.0.1 and then be fine. Let's see if that works. Secret, radius, password. There we go. So now we're going to need a user. Oops. We might need a subnet mask too. Let's put a subnet mask on there just in case. Yeah, all the rest of the clients have a subnet mask, so it's going to be a /32. Perfect. And it might need more than just that, but let's see if that's all it needs. Okay, so under here, I'm going to add a new user. Oops. Okay. Oops, and I forgot to back it up, but it's just a one-line change, not a big deal. So let's start the radius server. Oops, can't do that, and that's because this is clients.conf. So I missed a curly brace. Oh, I didn't miss a curly brace. I missed a equal sign. All right, so hopefully the nightmare will slowly. Okay, yes. And it wasn't too bad. It was just a few extra minutes. So hopefully, yep, now I can do a detach of the screen, get back my prompt. Oops. There we go, get back my prompt. And now when I do a SSH 172.16.0.1, oops, and I'll use the radius user account. Now I can, oops. So it must not be, well, let's see what happens if I try it here. Okay, so yeah, I can log in with radius here. It's just remember from the previous video, the public key will overwrite overwrite radius, which is convenient. I like that better. I think that's better behavior. It just makes it difficult to demo a radius setup if it's being overwritten by another kind of authentication. But I was able to demo it here. You couldn't see that I was typing in radius, you just take my word for it. I mean, I can of course copy paste it in there. I'll just do that. So underneath my diet plan, I will write radius, which is the password for this account. And I will copy and paste it in. And that's the password I'm using, which is, of course, radius, because I don't have any other password set up. All I have set up otherwise than that is public key authentication. All right. Oops. So yeah, we haven't even gotten to the help apropos. I mean, there's just so much, just running it. This is kind of my, sometimes these tests I'm a little bit wary of, because sometimes it takes more IT knowledge to actually study for the test than it does to pass the test. But I'm thankful that you can just go and get an exam without having to pre-qualify for it, aside from taking the previous exam. I actually did not graduate from college. I just found that it wasn't for me. So I personally am really grateful that there are things like this that I can do just by my own gumption, getting through it, and I don't have to, you know, kind of rely on things I did 10 years ago, you know, having a perfect record all throughout my educational career or whatever. I can just go and pass the test and prove that I do know these concepts, and that's all I need. Okay. All right. So let's do a help apropos Netcomp. Aha, so we've got lots of good stuff. Let's do a pipe match. Help topic. Help topic, system outbound. What else is there? Help reference. So let's start with help reference system Netcomp. Okay, so here's all the stuff. Description, configure, Netcomp, XML management protocol. The remaining statements are explained separately. So yeah, let's go with this. This will be the documentation we use. Let's try that help apropos again. Yeah, let's go with the help topic here. To configure the application to accept Netconf as an available service, include the services Netconf statements at the edit system services outbound SSH client ID hierarchy level. Okay. Let's just stick to the documentation here. There we go. Yep, and now we get the Netconf Java Developer Guide, Java Toolkit Developer Guide, which I think will be good. Let's see what other options we have. So let's do some more of those help apropos suggestions. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so it looks like we do have some trace options, which would be nice. I'll make sure to enable those. This looks nice. Allow Netconf over SSH. I think I'd rather do that. Okay, and this is the same topic. So let's give this a read. The Netconf XML management protocol is an XML-based protocol that client applications use to request and change configuration information on routing, switching, and security devices. It uses an extensible markup language, XML-based data encoding for the configuration data and remote procedure calls. The Netconf protocol defines basic operations that are equivalent to configuration mode commands in the command line interface, CLI. Applications use the protocol operations to display, edit, and commit configuration statements, among other operations. Just as administrators use CLI configuration mode commands to perform these operations. The Junos XML API is an XML representation of Junos OS configuration statements and operational mode commands. When the client application manages a device running Junos OS, Junos XML configuration tag elements are the content to which Netconf XML protocol operations apply. Junos XML operational tag elements are equivalent in function to operational mode commands in the Junos OS CLI, which administrators use to retrieve status information for devices running Junos OS. The Netconf XML management protocol is described in RFC 6241. Okay, so this I think is going to be a good link. And oops, it's been updated by these two RFCs, so let's take a look at those. Oh, and there's some errata in there too, so hopefully they're just there. Let's see what it obsoletes as well. So, yep, there's going to be an older version. And let's see here. So, okay, so it's good to know these don't obsolete this. So this is the correct one to read. This is just some extra information. Oop, and it's the current best practice. But this is the standard. Oh, and this is a standard as well. Okay, so this is just about some extensions. It's just part of the standard. It's just extensions to the standard. I don't think we'll need to know about that. But this is the current best practice, which I think is something we do want to know about. So I'll include both of these in the notes. All right. Client applications request information and change the configuration on a switch, router, or security device by encoding the request with tag elements from the Netconf XML management protocol and Junos XML API, and then sending it to the Netcomp server on the device. On devices running Junos OS, the Netcomp server is integrated into Junos OS and does not appear as a separate entry in process listings. The Netcomp server directs the request to the appropriate software modules within the device, encodes the response in Netcomp and Junos XML API tag elements, and returns the results to the client application. For example, to request information about the status of a device's interfaces, a client application sends the Junos XML API get information request tag. The Netcomp server gathers the information from the interface process and returns it in the Junos XML API response tag element. You can use Netconf XML management protocol and Junos XML API to configure devices running Junos OS, or to request information about the device configuration or operation. You can write client applications to interact with the Netconf server, and you can also use the Netconf XML management protocol to build custom end user interfaces for configuration and information retrieval and display, such as a web browser based interface. Okay, so this is part of the Netconf Java Developer Toolkit guide. So this is all about Java, which I don't have any experience with. I know it's a really popular language. Let's look at programming language popularity. Yeah, 2020. Ah, here we go. So yep, Java is still #1. So definitely solid language, really important to know. C is #2. Python's #3 though. That's the language I know. I know a little bit of, I know some JavaScript as well. I had a little bit of exposure to PHP, and then I know a little bit of SQL. But Java and C are the big ones. So, oh, what does this TIOBE mean? Oh, so I guess there's two different measures of popularity. There's the TIOBE index, and then there's the PYPL index. Yeah. Oh yeah, popularity of programming language index. So there's two different measurement systems, just like there's the ACT and the SAT. So they're going to have a little bit different results. It looks like in the PYPL, you've got Python on top, but Java is still number 2. So you've got Java number 1 on one index, number 2 on the second one. So Java is a huge language, really important to not treat as though it's a language that's not worth your time. It is going to be eventually. There are languages that I think it's okay to treat that way, but Java is not one of them. Like, for example, Visual Basic, just use Python, and Perl, just use Python. But yeah, if you can, there are cases where you're on a system that you can't use Python on. All right, so let's read the current best practice for Netconf, changing the registration policy for the Netconf capability URNs registry. So this is the current best practice for doing that. The registration policy for the Netconf configuration protocol capability URNs registry set up by RFC 6241 has turned out to be unnecessarily strict. This document changes that registration policy to IETF review, allowing registrations from certain well-received experimental RFCs in addition to standards track RFC. Status of this memo. This memo documents an internet best current practice. This document is a product of the Internet Engineering Task Force IETF. It represents the okay, yep, let's do that. Introduction. The Network Configuration Protocol Netconf Capability URNs registry was set up with a registration policy of standards actions, allowing registrations only from standards track RFCs. This provided thorough review of the specifications that are requesting Netconf capability URNs. It has turned out to be desirable to allocate capability URNs for certain experimental RFCs also, provided these specifications are also carefully reviewed. The existing registration policy is therefore unnecessarily strict, requiring exception handling by the IESG. This document changes that registration policy to IETF review, which also allows registrations from certain well-received experimental RFCs, or, for example, connections to registry errors from informational RFCs with IETF review considerations. Okay, so not important. No security concerns. Not going to read the rest of it. What I'm going to do is try to do just an a simple Netconf collection of the commands from this, and then move on. Oh, it looks like I can get the Java toolkit. So how do I do that? I guess I'd rather use like NC clients to do this. So let's do that. Let's go to Ubuntu Docker Guest 1. Let's see if I got Python here. I don't. So apt-get install Python free. Or let's just do Python and see what it gives. So this will be Python 2. I want to get used to using Python 3 because it is the future. It's actually the present, and it's actually the past. Python 3 is just the appropriate one to use nowadays. Okay, and I'm going to fill up my water while this is downloading, so I will be back shortly. Okay, so I'm recording again. Let's see if that is finished. It is. So let's go into Python 3. Perfect. So we've got Python 3.5. So let's do Python 3-m pip install NC client. So one thing to know about Python is it can vary from system to system how you run it. Windows, you got to do py-3 to run Python 3. Linux usually runs as you'll see in the help documentation, but in most good systems, you'll be able to do this pip install, but sometimes it doesn't quite work that way, so you can do Python-3 to make it better. I think a good reason sometimes it doesn't work with pip install is because you don't have a virtual environment enabled, which is always going to be better practice to have that. So what the heck is this? Oh, it's for radius. It's for that radius, free radius, I think. I'm not sure what it is for, but I'll create a new one. I'll do cd netconf, and then files. Oops. So make dir netconf files. Okay, and now we're going to make a virtual environment here. So we're going to do VNV. Oops. Actually, we're going to do Python 3. Or we can just do, nope, we got to do Python 3. Okay, so Python 3, VNV, VNV. Oops. Okay, so I needed to do the -m. That's the correct syntax. It's just I don't have Python 3-VNV. So, but I can install it. All right, and I'm going to take a short break here as well and come back after this is installed. Okay, so I'm back. This is all downloaded. We've got VNV. We can make a VNV now. So this has got to, of course, be in the global space. We can put the ability to create a VNV in a VNV. Okay, but it's as easy as that once we've got the package installed. So now we've got a virtual environment. So we can do source. Oh, sorry, and it's not going to be from the root. It's going to be a relative path. Perfect. So now I can do a pip install NC clients. All right. So hopefully there's no issues there. And then, yep, all I'm going to do is pull back a show command and make a configuration using NC client. And then I think I'll call that good enough. No reason to read the RFC. Yeah, I guess one thing I can do is, let's see here. So we've got, yeah, protocol operations. So there's like a workflow described in here. I'll read that. So the workflow is going to be, what was it? It's yeah, lock, unlock it. So let's read about this. Maybe there's a link to the workflow. So yeah, let's just start reading here. The lock operation allows the client to lock the entire configuration data store system of a device. Such locks are intended to be short-lived and allow a client to make a change without fear of interaction with other Netconf clients. Non-Netconf clients, for example, SNMP and command line interface scripts, and human users. An attempt to lock the configuration data store must fail if an existing session or other entity holds a lock on any portion of the locked target. When the lock is acquired, the server must prevent any changes to the locked resource other than those requested by this session. SNMP and CLI requests to modify the resource must fail with an appropriate error. The duration of the lock is defined as beginning when the lock is acquired and lasting until either the lock is released or the Netconf session closes. The session closure can be explicitly performed by the client or implicitly performed by the server based on criteria such as failure of the underlying transport, simple inactivity timeout, or detection of abusive behavior on the part of the client. These criteria are dependent on the implementation and the underlying transport. The lock operation takes a mandatory parameter target. The target parameter names the configuration data store that will be locked when a lock is active using the edit config operation on the lock configuration data store and using the lock configuration as a target of the copy config operation will be disallowed by any other Netconf session. Additionally, the system will ensure that these locked configuration resources will not be modified by any other non-Netconf management operations, such as SNMP and CLI. The kill session operation can be used to force the release of a lock owned by another Netconf session. It is beyond the scope of this document to define how to break locks held by other entities. A lock must not be granted if any of the following conditions is true. A lock is already held by any Netconf session or other entity. The target configuration is candidate. It has already been modified and these changes have not been committed or rolled back. The target configuration is running and another Netconf session has an ongoing confirmed commit. The server must respond with either an OK element or an RPC error. A lock will be released by the system if the session holding the lock is terminated for any reason. Okay, I just thought I would read that because it's just interesting to know that the kind of concepts of a candidate config and a running config are implemented in Netconf. So even if you're configuring a Cisco that has only the running config and not a candidate config, you can use Netconf if you can enable it on Cisco and have those capabilities. Okay, so let's try to get that to work. So we're on, oops. So, oh, maybe, yeah, maybe it just needs to be upgraded. Yeah, because look at how many versions behind it is. So yeah, let's do that and then try this again. Okay, and it'll just download the parts that aren't already there. Okay, so now I didn't have any of those issues, so I can do Python 3, import NC client. There we go, and it's perfect. So let's get some help on that, and hopefully we can make a call out to that. So we've got package contents, capabilities, debug, devices. So let's go with manager. Get some help on that. Let's do from NC client, import manager, and get a help on manager. Okay, so this module is a thin layer of abstraction around the library. It exposes all core functionality. I'm surprised I wasn't able to get help on that. Oh, I guess I am. What the heck? Why didn't that work? Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I'm not sure what the best way to do it. I guess I would prefer to do import ntclient.manager because it seems like manager would be something you would want to use in your namespace for other kinds of naming. So to just have that belong to this namespace seems a little bit safer because NC clients is not something you would be using. But let's take the example here. So the example is, so manager instances are also context managers, so you can use it like this with manager.connect host as m, do your stuff, or like this. So we're going to use this version. Okay, and then we're going to be connecting to the host. And I don't think we'll need password authentication because we've got the public key, so hopefully we won't need that. So we got to figure out how to do our stuff. So we've got this execute here. Yep, so maybe that's how we can do our stuff. All right, let's move this on the other side so I don't have to deal with not being able to see it. Oh, why don't I take a moment here because this is going to help me for the rest of these videos and fix the display setting on my monitor too. So I think the display resolution is what I'm going to change. I'll put this up here if anyone. Let's see here. So I tried messing around with some stuff. Which flipped. Oh, yeah, I don't want that. Oh, that's fun. Try to move the mouse like that. All right, so this is the recommended setting. I do have the instructions. Yeah, for those TVs. So let's see what the recommended resolution is for the TV that the TV says. I just got this TV, so it does not say what I need to set my display settings to. So I guess I will just okay. So I guess I will just try toggling them and see if I get better results. And that is a worse result. Although my mouse does not run. Let's see here. So reverts. So nope, mouse ends runs off for that one. But it looks like I did not get the option to test that. I was only able to set it. So, oh, now there's a different setting that is recommended. Oh, sorry, that's because I have a different one. So let me do identify. So yeah, this is screen 2, which is weird because screen 1 appears to be bigger than screen 2, even though screen 2, the form factor is bigger than screen 1. This looks a lot better, but it still is running off the side. Let's keep these for now. But this is definitely a lot better. Yeah, this is really good. It does not run off the side anymore. It's just right directly to the edges. And not only that, it's the same display resolution. Nope. The display resolution on my laptop is 1920 by 1080, and this is not that. But let's try 1920 by 1080 on here. Oh, we can't. Oh, yeah, we can. Oh no, but that doesn't work at all. So we revert that. Okay, this is actually, yeah, this is actually perfect. This 1280 by 800. Let's try it by. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. This is a huge improvement. So I will take the W. No reason to. I guess it's a little bit wide and thin now. It's kind of stretched out to the side of it. So this I think looks much better. Um, well, I kind of like this. I can't decide between. What about this one? This runs out off the side. Yeah, I guess I can't decide between this one that I've got now and this one here. I guess I like this one here because it's, yeah, I'm going to keep this one. Everything's a little bit smaller, more crisp, more clear. So yeah, I'm going with this one. Yeah, and it's a more similar resolution to my other screen. This is the same resolution as my other screen, but it bleeds off the edge. So this does not bleed off the edge. So this is perfect. I think. I wonder what happens if I change it to portrait. Oh, then it goes that way, which is kind of what I would like to do, but okay, this is difficult. I can't even do it. Okay. All right. So yeah. So let's do that. Continue on and do the goals. Let's write down what those goals are. So Netconf goals. Number one is going to be to get show command output. Number two is going to be make. Okay, so here's the goals for this video. So let's do that. So okay, so here's the docs for NC clients. I hope I have the latest, but here we go. So, yep, looks like we got it. So this is going to be a good example. Let's just write it here from NC clients, import manager. So with manager, connect SSH. That one. Oh, okay. So this is how we send it the command. So let's give it a command. So we're gonna first of all, before doing anything, we're going to need to enable the Netcomp service on here, I believe. So we're going to need to follow the instructions here. So yep, edit system services Netconf. So set system services Netconf. And then SSH to allow it over SSH. Commit. So let's figure out what we want to get. Let's do a show interfaces descriptions. So pipe display XML RPC. So this is what we're going to need to have. So we'll save this in a file, and we'll name the file show interfaces descriptions. So let's do that right now. There you go. Okay, so now m.config. We're going to get this from the running config. We also have the option to get it from the candidate config. The Netcomp candidate config, which is different from the candidate config on the Juniper CLI. So by default, it opens it for reading, so we'll just use the default option. That's interesting that they're opening it for. Oh, they're writing it to a file. Oh, this is just getting the full. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. So we're gonna do. Yeah. So open R1 running config. Now we've got to open this for writing as F, and then we're going to do f.write C. All right, so hopefully this works for us. So one thing we can do, well, it looks like it worked. So let's print that out. Yep, there we go. R1 running config. So there it is in XML. Let's do a pipe less so we can look through that more closely. Pipe more maybe. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I don't have less for some reason, but more is less, or less is more. So let's use more. Okay, so let's do a rundown of what we got here. So you can see they're all enclosed in tags, but between the tags, we've got things that look very, very familiar. All right, so we've got the first thing marked off, complete. Oh, I don't have a, oh, I do have a strikeout. There we go. Oh, but I can only strike out everything. I can't strike out just one line. Okay. So I'll just go with my classic tried and true. Done. And then not done. Yeah, I was actually a supplemental instructor in when I was in two-year college, junior college, studying this sort of stuff, IT networking. And there's a student who I was having trouble just getting through all the work. He just couldn't kind of remember what he had to do. So on the spot, I came, and I have that trouble too. So on the spot, I came up with this system where it's like, okay, instead of working on your homework right now, let's get meta and let's work on a system so that we can work on your homework. So let's write down everything you've got, and then let's mark it off as done or not done. And then when you finish it, let's mark it off as done. So I needed to, he got an extension for some of his assignments. So I needed to work with him over the next few days and make sure he got those assignments done, the ones that he did not get done. So we made that meta list, and then at the end of every day, he worked through those assignments. He did them himself. My job is to network assign network instructor is not to do people's assignments. It's to help them to help themselves, and if they get stuck or if they have problems with like organization or something like that, that's where I step in. I don't sit down and do their assignments for them. It's just they're doing their assignments. They go like this, which we all go like. Well, the difference between some students and other students is when those other students go like this, they something comes out of that. But for other students, when you go like this, it's game over. So my job is to make sure that it's no longer game over when that happens. So I was able to do that really effectively by this system. And then at the end of the day, this person had a parent in their lives that was really invested in their success, which is really, really a good advantage. Really happy to see that. So at the end of the day, we took this whole list and then we took the things he got done and we emailed it to this parent who was really kind of rooting for him to be successful. So that I really, I don't show this to a parent, but that's part of the reason I have this YouTube channel, because I can say to the world, hey, I actually did study. If I come back at the end of this series with a paper that says I failed, well, the proof is there in public. Proof is in the pudding, I guess, that I did in fact study for the exam. I just unfortunately did not pass on that day, but the situation of me having a failing grade and nothing to show for it, for me was pretty frightening. So if I get that failing grade, hold it up to the camera, everyone can see that, hey, I did this whole large body of study. Hopefully it's useful to somebody. They can use it to improve their own study. I can go back and see, oh, I didn't give enough time to this. Well, this video I was just talking about my supplemental instructing days and not actually focusing on the subject matter. So it's no wonder I failed in this category. So I can kind of get a better sense of how I studied and how I can study better during a retake. But we accomplished this goal. So now let's go on to the next goal to make a configuration change and then mark off this subject. And in the next video, it will be a new subject. So you can already see here for configuration backups, pretty nice. Just doing that really nice and easy. And then the other thing that's really nice that I will show is if you go into Python, let's do a pip install XML to dict. There you go. And now a Python 3, import XML to dict. And then we're going to go with open R1 let's figure out the name of that file first. Okay, so go back, import XML to dict with open R1 running config, and then it's read by default as F, and then we'll do XML data equals F dot read. So XML data is a string now. If we did read lines, it would be a list separated by the new line characters, but we want it to be a string because we're going to say R1 running config equals XML to dict dot parse XML data. Okay, so now the type of R1 running config It's going to be an ordered dictionary, which is interesting, but we can do config keys and use a lot of the same things that we were able to use before. Or that we were able to use with an unordered dictionary. Okay, so now we can see we've got our configuration, and it's in a much more usable format than XML. It's a Python dictionary. So if we want to get the descriptions, which I had wanted to initially do, can get that by going into interfaces. And then interface. Oh, so interface has no attribute keys. Let's see what data type this is. So it's a list. All right, so here's all my interfaces. Let's look at the first one. And so it looks like this is a ordered dict. So let's see what we got for the keys. Aha, so description. Okay, so we'll use the description key to get the value of the description for the first interface. So there we go. I've got it to router 1, router 2. So now we can do descriptions equals this. Look at the type of descriptions. So these are all, oh, sorry. Descriptions is not going to equal that. It's going to equal let's not call that descriptions. Let's call it interfaces. So yeah, interfaces equals this, and then interfaces is a list, and we could call it interface, but that's I think misleading because there are going to be multiple of them because it's a list. Interfaces is a ordered dictionary. So we're going to do for interface in interfaces, print interface description. There you go. So you can see it's pretty easy to access information. Anything you want to do programmatically, you can just use Netcomp. You don't even got to worry about PyEZ, which has a lot more complicated import statements. It needs to pull in a lot more libraries. So just with Netconf and XML predict, you can do just about anything you need to do programmatically on Juniper. But of course, there's another piece of that puzzle, and that is setting up, making it so that you can make a configuration change. So let's try that. And let's change the description on the loopback 0 interface. So we'll do nano, new des on LO0. So this looks a lot better. We've got Netconf Management Protocol Developer Guide. So I'm definitely going to be including this in the notes. It's not particular to Java. So this is definitely the more useful documentation. So let's do managing configurations, requesting configuration information, configuration statements, committing the, here we go, changing the configuration using Netconf. Let's get an example. So editing the configuration using Netconf, perfect. In a Netconf session with a device running Junos OS, you can use Netconf XML management protocol operations along with Junos XML or command line interface CLI configuration statements to change the configuration on a routing, switching, or security platform. The Netconf protocol operations, copy config, edit config, and discard changes offer functionality that is analogous to configuration mode commands in the Junos OS CLI. The Junos XML tag elements described here correspond to Junos OS configuration elements. The only acceptable value for the target element is candidates, which can refer to either the candidate configuration or the open configuration database. If a client application issues the Junos XML protocol open configuration command to open a specific configuration database before executing a copy config or edit config operation, Junos OS performs the operation on an open configuration database. Otherwise, the operation is performed on the candidate configuration. The three tags, copy config, edit config, and discard changes correspond to the three basic configuration tasks available to you, which are described here. Overriding the target configuration with a new configuration using the copy config tag element, you can replace the configuration in the target configuration with a new configuration. Editing configuration elements using the edit config element, you can add, change, or delete specific configuration elements within the target configuration to specify how the device should handle the configuration changes. See setting the edit configuration mode in a Netconf session. Rolling back configuration changes to the current configuration. Using the discard changes tag element, you can roll back the candidate configuration to match the contents of the current running active configuration. This tag element provides functionality analogous to the CLI command rollback 0. I just realized something. I can no longer hide my controls. I can make it so that my panel does not disappear ever, I think. And then I can see my microphone light up in green whenever I talk and know right away if it goes away, I think. Nope, I can't get it to always persist. Whenever I move my mouse away from the panels, it will, yeah, it will go away. It won't, there's no way to make it so that it always yeah, there's no way to make it so that it always shows. Unfortunately, that is what I would prefer because I want to know right away if anything happens to my sound. And I want to see what levels are being picked up. Right now, it looks like less than 1/4 of the mic is highlighted whenever I talk, which means my audio levels are going to be pretty quiet. So I might need to speak up. I want to know that permanently. but it looks like I can only note that if I have my mouse over the thing, which is not possible because I've got to move my mouse constantly. So here's some related documentation. Aha, so changing individual configuration elements using Netconf. Let's do that. So here we go. So I think we've got in that show run. So cat R1. There we go. Yeah, so we'll know how to get down to there. So let's do Notepad, and then RPC, target candidates. Oh, this is nice. We can use configuration text. I didn't know about this. Yeah, let's do that. Heck yeah, let's definitely do that. So it's going to be set interfaces lo0.0 description changed by Netconf. Okay, and let's see if this will paste in. We're not gonna actually, we're just gonna see if it is the right command. Yep, it looks like it'll go in. Yeah, I can even hit enter, do a show pipe compare, and then roll back 0, and show configuration in cell 0, so we can see the description. It's not there. Oh, and let's not change lo0.0's description. Let's change it for the physical interface, not the logical unit. So if I do that, we will, and I'll do a pipe refresh 3 every 3 seconds. Oops. Oh, you can't do a pipe refresh for show configuration. But we can do a show int lo0, and the configuration I think will show up. Oh, sorry, not the configuration, the description. Yep, so there it is. Pipe match, description, perfect, and then pipe refresh 3. There we go. So that's the description popping up every 3 seconds. So we're going to see that change hopefully after I send the command here. Yep. So now we've just got to close the edit config tag and the RPC. This is really cool that you can just straight up, like, I like Netcomp better now. I did not know you could do that. The application includes the configuration data within the config or config text tag elements. Okay, so yep, everything looks good. We'll be getting back this OK message if it works. So let's move right along here. So we've got the, we'll just say nano netconf man, paste that in there. Oops. There we go. Yep, that looks good. So Python 3 from, and then now we can use the, yep, the same thing here, but we're going to do netconf command. And then we don't need to write this to a file because it's going to be that OK message. So let's just print it out. Yeah, we don't even need this whole thing because we're not going to be saving this. Oh, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like we need some special help to figure out how to send a particular command, because it looks like we're only sending a built-in command here. We need to send a custom command. So it's going to be manager.connect SSH as M. So then it's going to be okay. All right, so I'm not sure how to send this file here. Let's make it easy on ourselves and do a from NC client import manager.connect SSH. Oops. So from NC client import manager.connect SSH. Perfect. Okay, so this is the thing we can get help on, because this is going to be M. So initialize a class manager over the SSH transport for documentation of arguments. See this. So this is what we want to see. Oops, but we're going to, oh, never mind. So this looks good. Okay, here we go. So here's the things we can do. Oh, actually, nope, this isn't the things we can do. These are the arguments. So, what? Oh, I think they used the wrong word, because this is the parameters that you can pass to this function. These aren't the arguments. These are the parameters. The arguments you can't have documentation on, because the arguments can be anything the user wants. So just, you know, I'm getting very technical, very specific, very detailed, but that's, I think, generally important. At least it's weird, because you're constantly always told, oh, attention to detail is really important, be detailed, be specific. But when you actually do that, people look at you like, oh, what are you, why are you acting so funny? It's like, because I'm doing the thing that you wanted us to do. All right, so let me do, so I need to figure out how to send the command. So this is for .connect. So it's going to be .send. So SSH session .send. So I think we can do m.send. Let's try that. So with manager connect as m, we're going to do c equals m dot send source oops. Okay, I don't think we'll need this source here. We'll just need a name of the command. So so we're going to need to do a with open netconf command as F. C equals M dot send F. Print C. Let's try that. I don't think it'll work because we're sending a string. We're not sending actual Netconf data. But I'm willing to give it a try. Yep, so we didn't send actual Netconf data. And I think this data.xml isn't going to work either. Wait, how did I do that? Oh, so it just randomly switched tabs on me. And if I could figure out how to do this intentionally, it would change my whole life. But as of so far, I can only do it unintentionally. Oh, I just did it, but it was unintentional. So what did I do? I clicked, then I hit enter. Okay, I don't know. I can do it unintentionally, but I can't do it intentionally. So oops, yep, so it doesn't have, so this is a string. Can even do, yeah, netconf command. Let's get some more help on that. M dot. So still got M, so let's do help M. So yep, here's the manager, so we can do a send, I think. Oh, how about execute? Nope. Object is not callable. Thank you for this. They said the correct parameters. Okay, do your stuff. How do I do my stuff though? Do I use execute? Do I use open? Do I use send? What about that session? Yeah, how do I do literally anything? How do I do the thing? How do I do my stuff? Like I know what my stuff is, but I don't know how to do it. So is this word do here where I'm having a problem? Does this word mean execute? Does it mean send? Yeah, I don't know what they mean by the word do. Does it mean use a method of connect SSH? Or m dot execute? Or dot session or something? Channel name, client ID? I think it's session maybe? M dot session. Help. not implemented. Okay. Yeah, so this is really not useful to me. So we got connect. But how do I send a command to it? Well, let's read the docs. They took the time to write them, so I will take the time to read them. Okay, so it's going to be operations. Okay, this looks a lot better. Aha, yeah, this looks a lot better. So all right, I need to take a quick break. I will be back shortly. All right, so I will keep working on this now. Here we go. So this is a really nice. Aha, okay. So okay, they're saying to do it a bit differently. Where's the show version? Let's just do what they got here. So we're gonna do quit, and then Python 3, and then, oh, I'm so glad I fixed the display this video. I can see everything. Import manager, def connect, and it's gonna be desert01. We won't need any of that. We might need the port. Oh my god. Definitely. Oh, right. So these are parameters, not arguments. I tried to configure it as though they were arguments. Oh, I like how they're using the Kenneth Reed style syntax. Okay, and we won't need anything else because we're using public key authentication. Ahead of the curve in that aspect. Oh, I need one more. There you go. So if name equals that. Oh my God, authentication failed. I think I do need to have a username actually. So I'll take out this whole thing again, not a big deal. So host port user. Okay. Oh. Oh. Whoops. Yeah, I totally messed that up. And there's a car beeping outside now. Hope it's not my car. Could be. Somebody were breaking into my car right now. It would very likely be my car. So I simply just need to look out the window, but I'm doing this right now, which makes that difficult. Oh, but the beeping stopped. So either it wasn't my car or it was my car and the thief was able to disable the beeping and is now driving my car down the road after hot wiring it and stealing it. That is okay though. I really, with the pandemic, have not left the apartment in a long time. Last time I left, oh yeah, I did curbside pickup. But I found just paying the extra $5 for delivery is, I prefer doing that. Okay. Oops. Oops. So now these are arguments. Okay, and now that I can add in a username, I can use the one that has public authentication key set up, and I won't need a password. And hopefully I will get back the result of that. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so yep, I've got everything. It's even converted to text too. Oh, that's really snazzy. So yeah, I like that. That's really nice. Really easy to use. Netconf just for pulling back information. But we were able to do that before. This is kind of a diversion because we want to figure out how to make changes. Aha, so here we go. There's a suggested whole pipeline to make changes where you lock, you load, you validate, you commit, discard, unlock. So let's do this. We'll type the whole thing out the same way I did. I would like to have it under my fingers anyway. It's going to be a little bit of time, but this is going to be what the video will end on after I can see that I changed the loopback address, the loopback description. So that was running the whole time. After I can see that this has been changed, it looks like there's an issue with it no longer. Okay, so there's some sort of issue. Oh, it's backing something up now. Okay. Let's just do it every 5 seconds. There we go. Okay, so once that changes, end the video, and thankfully, because this is kind of taxing on me. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit different import statements because we're now going to be actually making changes to the configuration instead of just pulling it back and looking at it. Oh, I don't know what this source means. Let's take a look at the way this is called to try to figure this out. Okay, source is not, oh, right. It's going to be, these are all positional arguments. So it will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th argument that is passed into it. Aha, so we do need to include that source there because it's going to be the candidate config instead of the running config. So we're going to have host, port, user, and source. We won't have password because we have public key authentication configured. Okay, so we're not using source anywhere within our definition. Wait, I don't understand why they have source. Yeah, source is completely unnecessary because they're not actually using it for anything. Oh, this is not even correct to look at. This is correct to look at, but even here, it's the source is totally unnecessary. You know what? And I'm going to leave that out just because if it's unnecessary, I don't feel the need. It's unnecessary, so I'm not going to include it. I just need port and user. Oops, and I don't need a password because I'm using public key authentication, which is definitely what I recommend, but a timeout value would be nice so it doesn't take forever. Okay, and I won't need host K verify because again, I'm using public key authentication. Okay, so we're not going to be using system. We're going to be using now where did this? Oh, config came from here. So yeah, it's going to be. So let's figure out what our sub elements are going to be. So well, let's keep this going and then figure this out on round 2. So we just have that going, and then we'll do a configure private. So it's going to be edit. So interfaces, and then LO0 unit 0 description. Oops. No, LO0 description. Oh, wait, set interfaces LO0 description. Perfect, okay. So new element is going to be interfaces. Perfect. Okay, so interfaces, then LO0. Oh, okay, yeah, this is really nice. So you can bake, commit, confirm directly into your code. I really like that. Yeah, this is a really good suggestion by them. It looks like they're not going to use it, but let's use this actually because I really love. Oh. Okay, yeah, let's try to use it. I know you can't use it unless you're in configure exclusive if you're on the command line, but we'll see if you can use it for Netconf. Perfect. So hopefully this goes through and I can end the video. I'm definitely ready to end the video right now. But I think it is best to get this done. Okay, so that's it. Yep, I've just got 3 arguments. So fingers crossed, and it already failed instantly. So name or service not known. And this is just in line 2 in connect. So I think maybe 830 needs to be in quotes. Oh no, duh. Okay, I just was blindly following along. Good. So now we got an unexpected indent. Oh, because we need this. We don't need it, but it's good practice to have it. No harm in having it. Aha. Oh. So invalid tag name. Hello description. Unfortunately. That's too bad. I wonder if the config needs to be changed. I'll just grab all this and then edit it in a notepad and then paste it in. So I wonder if I can get it to work if I just do this. Like that, and then do this. Let's try that. Okay, so let's see what the problem is here. Oh, unexpected indent. Yeah, I think I've got like a combination of tabs and spaces or something. There we go. Yeah, I had a combination of tabs and spaces. Oops, so it looks like, yeah, it looks like it already locked the configuration. Yeah, so it was already a lingering locked session. So let's try to clear those off. Show system users. Yeah, so we've got a bunch of stale sessions on here. Let's just get rid of them all. So print this out again. Yeah, let's request system logouts all. So I'll even kill myself, but that's uh, okay. So even myself, I'm out, but I will go back in with the radius password, and now the show system users. Hopefully, just okay. So it has 4 people signed in still. So I guess one thing I can do is bounce the Netconf. Okay, so we've still got 4 users on here somehow. Through console. Okay, that time I literally just hit enter. That's all I did, and it jumped it over to this other tab. So invalid tag name. That's the same tag I used before, and it wasn't invalid. I used that tag before, and it wasn't invalid, but it's invalid now. Okay, so now I've got the issue where there's already, because when it fails out because there's an invalid tag name, you get this issue here. So, but I can just do, because we got the process ID now, I can do a request user, a request system, log out, PID, and I can make that message go away. But I can't make the message go away where it's the wrong elements. So let's do LO0. Maybe that'll work. Invalid tag name. Invalid tag name. Okay, so I just want to see what, if this is an invalid tag name, so what's a valid tag name? But it unfortunately looks like it can't tell me what a valid tag name is. So I'd really like to know what a valid tag name is, but there's no way to find that out that this document speaks of. Okay, so build a configuration element. So this config equals new LE. So let's do a help NC client, or let's do new LE help on that. Okay, lambda 10. This is, so it won't tell me what I can put in here. Ah, here we go. So I feel like I'm really, really close. I just need to say config equals, so I need to build a configuration elements. So that, is that going to work? Let me try that. Nope. Invalid tag name. What if I do this? Config equals new element that, and then redefine config. Yeah, I'm not sure what's, yeah, I just don't know. Like, I just don't know what you can plug in there. Because I know, of course, you can plug in system host name. So let's look at that. So if I go edit system and then host name, or if I do a set system, yeah, then I can plug in host name. I can set that to foo. I can also do a set system domain name and set that to var. But for some reason, when I do a set interfaces, LO0, so because there's two different elements, I can't do it. What if I do this? Interfaces dot new LE LO0. Will this work? Okay, so I think it's going to be locked already, but that's not a big deal. I can, yep, so I got the PID, so I can unlock it. Perfect, so hopefully this works now. Nope. Yeah, it's because it's too different. It's too deep. So yeah, because they're only giving an example for how you can configure something if it's set, come on, set system. So here's your new configuration element. And then they're only showing you how to do it if you've got one sub-element. So in this case, the sub-element is hosting that they're showing in the documentation here. But my configuration statement is going to have two sub-elements. It's going to have interface, and it's going to have LO0, and it's going to have description. So that's when I want to make a change after two sub-elements. So this element here, we've got sub-elements. So one thing I might be able to do is do LO0. So, and say first sub LE equals sub LE there. Okay, and now we can do sub LE first sub LE description effects. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, but it's going to be already connected, but we'll get the PID, so it won't be a big deal. Okay, no big deal at all. So let's do it again, and hopefully that is what it takes. Nope, syntax error. Yep, line 14 in this. Let's put this in a file so that we know exactly what line it is. We'll call it pain.py. So Python 3 pain.py. And oops, it's going to have a okay, yep, so line 19. Okay, so this is interesting. So it looks like the error is on line 19. Oh, but it's probably because Okay, yeah, it is. It is. It's because I have a TTY process, I believe. Or actually, no, because this is my process. So I would have two if it were due to that. Yeah, because if I kill this, yeah, you do not want to kill yourself. Thank you, Juniper. All right. So Juniper is saving lives one error message at a time. Let's go ahead and um, let's let's try to figure out what's going on here. Config equals config. Oh, yeah, I think config actually needs to equal first sub element now. Yep, okay, perfect. So let's see if this works. Nope, doesn't work. Syntax error. All right, let's put it in a file so we can see which it belongs to. So yep, we'll put it in a file. So we'll do rm remove pane. That sounds good. But we gotta recreate pane because I just want to figure this out. So yeah, I just want to see where this errors in the file. So it's going to be line 19 again. So yeah, it's not. So this first sub LE is not going to work. So it's got to be. Yeah, so you know what? I think I'm going to give it up. This is just using NC clients. There's other ways you can do this. You can use PyEZ. I've got actually a second playlist going now on my channel where I work through PyEZ, and it's been pretty easy to use. So personally, I have never had luck with NC clients. Except for the baby elementary exercises that are shown here, where either you're making a configuration with only one sub-element, or you're just pulling back information. Configuration made under multiple sub-elements, I haven't had any luck with, and even pulling back show commands and stuff has been a giant pain for me. But one thing I think I will do before closing this is just verify that this actually works, and I will just change the host name to and then leave it at that. So I'll just show that you can, because it's going to be useful to be able to use even if you can only configure it one sub-element deep. So we'll change the host name to r1-netconf, and we'll show that you can change it as long as there's only one configuration sub-element. which is kind of too bad, but at the same time, there's a lot of power in that. And then PyEasy is really nice to figure out. That's what I would recommend using instead. Oops, and I did not change this back. Oops, and I still had a configure exclusive going. Okay, so oops, and it changed tabs when I hit enter, which is something I would like to be able to do intentionally, but at this point I can only do unintentionally. Okay, so, but now we are good to go. So now we got a syntax error again. Oh. So here it is. I have it as description, not hostname. Okay, so got to get rid of the, because it didn't gracefully come out since it failed. There we go. It's as easy as peasy pie, as long as you're only doing one sub-element deep. I wish I knew how to do more than one sub-element deep, but that is a lot more complicated. Yep, and we can see it changed. Let's do it one more time so that those messages are more clear. So, what the hell? Oh. What? Oh, because there's, so I'd have to do what? Rollback 2, short pipe compare. Oh, I have to do rollback 2 because it was commit confirmed and commit. The second commit doesn't do anything. It just confirms that you wanted the first commit. So when you roll back, you've got to roll back both of those commits, including the empty one that is only for confirming the one that actually has changes in it. So we're back to the original host name. Let's run this again just so we can see those messages a lot more clearly. There we go. So a lot more clear. We can see we're loading the configuration results. We're committing the results. And yep, so that went good. So everything looks pretty good. Yep, we got all our OKs back. And we changed the host name. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. Went super long. Unfortunately, I had to take an L as far as configuring elements that have more than one sub-element. That would be interfaces, then the interface name, then the description. That's 2 sub-elements of configuration. System host name, and then the configuration there. That's only 1 sub-element of configuration, and that was really easy, but there were no instructions or guidelines for how to do anything but that. But even that is quite a bit, is pretty powerful, and it's pretty simple. This was a really straightforward guide for how to do that. But it's just unfortunately very limited, unless I would know how to configure it if it had multiple sub-elements. I really wouldn't want to use this at all. I'd probably use Python easy or something better than this method, because just being able to configure one sub-element deep, although really powerful if you have the need to do that, is unfortunately too limited to me. I think most of the things I would like to automate configuration of our more than one cell element deep. So fortunately, it's really not going to cut it, but hope you enjoyed this video. I'll definitely include this in the links because this was a really great explanation of how to do that. See what else I want to include in the links. I think that's it pretty much. But yeah, the best place to learn about, I think I'll include this in the links too if it's not in there already. It might be. So Netconf gone. Nope, it's not in there already. So yeah, let's include that too because that showed me this part, which was pretty cool. That you can just, this part that's pretty cool that you could just put the whole command in itself, but unfortunately I wasn't able to figure out how to send this file over. It's something I'm sure I could figure out, but I don't want to devote too much time to any one topic. So I will be marking this as done. Oops. Okay, and then the next topic will be network automation event options. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.